11:11. Angel hour. 11:11. Maybe I shouldn't have this over here with a kitty on the table. Goodness. No, kitty. Kitty, it's 11:11. No, kitty, no. No, kitty, no. Go in. Oh, good morning, Jen. My fingers are tacky. I'm having trouble getting them to slide across the little thing on the laptop. They're dragging. Hi, Cotton Candy. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Pam. You were just thinking about me? Well, hi. I hope it was a good thought. Looks like our signal is a little bit flaky over here on my end. Is it flaky on your end? Looks kind of fuzzy. On my phone, oh my goodness, let's see. I don't know what is the matter. It's all fuzzy. Well, usually we're not fuzzy when we're here at the kitchen table. And I don't know what to do. I've got too much stuff here to like pick up everything and move. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it will clear up. Baby, should I go ahead with this or should I end it and delete it and begin again? I mean, I don't want it to look so bad. Carrie, honey, what do you think? Should I just end this? And hi, Susan Bezio. Jen, the weather has been crazy. You never know what's going to happen. It's supposed. Okay, Carrie, I'm going to just go ahead, honey. We're not going to be on here very long. And Jen, yeah, it's supposed to be 80 degrees here in Arkansas today, at least in my part. Hi, everybody. Everyone I see in chat is familiar to me. So you kids have been around for a while. So hi, thank you for popping in. And anyone new, or if you're watching from the bushes, good morning. At least it is for me. My name is Susan. Welcome to Lip Lock No More. Generally speaking, on this channel these days, when we do a live stream, it's something very light, silly, frivolous, sometimes bordering on the ridiculous and the ludicrous. Today is not going to be, sorry, kitty. Today is not going to be that kind of live. Today is going to be very serious. I'm going to read an article to you kitty, please. Mommy's struggling already. Mommy's struggling already. Today I'm going to read a newspaper article from the Arkansas Democrat Gazette from yesterday, Sunday, March 29th, 2026. My husband brought this article to my attention because he knows what I am interested in when it comes to serious topics. He knows why, and so do most of you. This may be triggering for some. If you are particularly sensitive, and I mean that in the most respectful way, you are particularly sensitive to material or discussion regarding child sexual abuse, please tune out right now. Because we're going to be reading a news article, there's not going to be anything sensational in it, nor do I intend to sensationalize the matter. However, many of us on this app, at least in this sector of YouTube, are aware that in the very recent past, not this Arkansas man, but an Arkansas YouTuber that goes by Arctic Fox, as well as other names on social media, was busted, if you will, by an online predator group. As far as we know to this date, no arrests have been made in that particular situation. In this situation, an arrest has been made, and yes, it does involve an online predator group. As a matter of fact, this story is very similar to Arctic Fox. And those of you who are aware of that situation, as I read this article, you too, I believe, will see the similarities. I don't think I need to tell any of you why this type of thing is so important in this day and age. Children being preyed upon and groomed for the purpose of gratification on the part of the predator is absolutely rampant on the internet. And it seems that in many cases, some cases perhaps I should say, hi Mimi Jean, there are parents, guardians, and custodians of children who completely, or at least for the most part, seem to disregard the fact that their children are in danger on the fucking internet. So if you happen to be one that uses the internet as a babysitter, sorry. No, actually, I'm not. I'm not sorry for losing my temper. It is so frustrating. It is so incredibly frustrating to have grown up. I grew up in a time, y'all know I'm 75 years old. When I was a little kid growing up, hi Poppy, you know what what we had to worry about for the most part, unless it was a family member or a friend of the family or your mama's boyfriend, okay? Here's our warning. When I was a kid, don't take candy from strangers. Folks, if you are one that is a purveyor of and intaker of the interwebs, and you have children on the interwebs, you need to teach your children not to take candy from strangers. And you, parent, guardian, custodian, you need to be monitoring the situation with all of the available safeguards as well as your own fucking eyes. When you check what your children are doing on the internet, you are not prying into their private life. You are their protector. In the meantime, let us get to this article. Let me get a sip of soda and calm down a second. I'd like to have my soda over here on the table with me, but I'm afraid a kitty cat will jump up and knock it over. So, and I see our signal still sucks, but it is what it is today. I'm not even using, hi B Mama. I'm not even using Wi-Fi, so I know it's not that. I'm using data, so we're bouncing off of a cell tower. Maybe that's the problem. All right, without further ado, from the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, Sunday, March 29, 2026. The title of this article from page 2B is Convicted Child Sex Offender Jailed. Convicted child sex offender jailed. The subtitle is Ozark Man, Ozark being a town here in Arkansas, not our region of the Ozark Mountains necessarily. Ozark, Arkansas. Ozark man lured by adults posing as teen boy to bait pedophiles. This article is written by Penny Weaver of the River Valley Democrat Gazette. Timeline, Ozark, Arkansas. When an Ozark man went to an area park in hopes of meeting a teen boy, he was instead met by adults who operate online accounts dedicated to luring child predators, according to police. Antonio C. Bly. Yeah, Bly, I know. 30 is charged with internet stalking of a child, failure to comply with sex offender registration requirements, and 25 counts of pandering possession of material depicting child sexual abuse material, also known as CSAM, according to Franklin County, Arkansas Circuit Court records. The charges were filed Wednesday. Now, this is yesterday's paper, so we're talking Wednesday of last week, okay? The charges were filed Wednesday, and Bly had not yet entered a plea as of Friday, 3 days ago. Sorry for rattling the paper. Ozark police responded March 1st to East Side City Park in Ozark after 3 adults reported to dispatchers they were with Bly, who they said came to the park looking to meet up with a 14-year-old boy. That is according to an arrest warrant affidavit. Two of the accusers told police they have social media accounts to, quote, bait, close quote, child predators. One said he had been speaking to Bly online for about a month and a half, pretending to be a teenage boy, the affidavit states. The man who had been posing as a teenager, I told you guys we're going to see similarities here. The man who had been posing as a teenager said Bly asked him to meet in person at the park without any prompting. Get that? Without any prompting by the fictitious personality, according to the affidavit. The man gave officers printed copies of screenshots and images from the conversations he had had with Bly. An officer spoke with Bly and reported the suspect admitted he was at the park to meet a 14-year-old boy. Quote, I asked Antonio what would have happened if a 14-year-old boy would have showed up. What was he going to do with the boy? Close quote. The officer wrote in the affidavit. Quote, Antonio informed me that he was lonely and just wanted someone to talk with and say hi. Close quote. 30-year-old Antonio C. Bly wanted to meet a 14-year-old boy at the city park in Ozark, Arkansas, because he was lonely. He needed somebody to talk to say hi. Bly admitted he had child sexual abuse material on his phone, but said he had the images because he was trying to trace the username to try to find their origin, according to the affidavit. So that would mean, the way I interpret that, hi Kiki Eyes, is that Bly is telling law enforcement, as a convicted child predator, that he is an online child predator dude. He was trying to trace the username to try to find their origin. Officers took all devices involved in the accusations by the people who reported the online interactions with Bly and took Bly into custody. The three accusers, 2 men and 1 woman, gave statements to police. One of the men said he was present as support, while the other was the one who said he interacted online with Bly while pretending to be a teenager. The woman told investigators she works with a private organization that reports pedophiles to the police, according to the affidavit. Investigators reported finding more than 200 images of child sexual abuse material on Bly's 2 phones. 200 images of CSAM on 2 phones. The internet stalking of a child charge levied against Bly. Let me say that again, because I want to make it clear. This dude got arrested. Evidently, these online predator protection people, I don't know exactly what to call them, But evidently this group did it correctly. I don't even know. Let me not go down a rabbit hole, okay? The internet stalking of a child charge levied against Bly is listed in court documents with the addendum that the meeting actually occurred with a person held out to be 15 or younger, okay? The important words in this addendum are held out to be. So let me read this again. The internet stalking of a child charge levied against Bly is listed in court documents with the addendum that the meeting actually occurred with a person held out to be 15 or younger. That elevates the charge from a Class B felony to a Class Y felony, where a Class B felony calls for a sentence between 5 to 20 years in prison upon conviction. A Class Y felony comes with a sentencing range of 10 to 40 years or life in prison. This guy actually went to the park. He actually thought he was meeting up with a teenage boy under the age of 15. So now here's where I'm going to have to control my temper, as if I haven't been already. Bly is a registered sex offender due to a case that originated in December of 2015 and involved a victim who was younger than 14 years old. That's according to Johnson County, Arkansas Circuit Court records. He pleaded no contest in 2016 to second-degree sexual assault and received a 5-year term in prison with an additional 5 years suspended. That's according to court records. If Bly is found to have violated the negotiated plea, the court could order that he serve the suspended sentence. Bly was paroled in December of 2020, records show. He had lived in Clarksville, which is here in Arkansas, when the case was filed, and he lived in Lamar in 2023 when his driver's license was suspended because he had not paid fines ordered in the sexual assault case. He remained in the Franklin County Jail on Friday, 3 days ago, on a $7,500 cash bond. That's according to jail records. He is scheduled for a court appearance on April the 16th. That's the end of the article. Hi, cats, hodgepodge. Folks, I can remember it was probably the early 1990s on television. I can't remember the name of the show, but an episode. I think it was like an hour, maybe even longer. It was an hour long at least, where a real journalist went into a particular prison and did an extended, in-depth interview with a convicted pedophile. That convicted pedophile told the journalist, "Don't ever let me out. I can't be fixed." And that man also went on to let that journalist know that, as far as he was concerned, no pedo can be fixed. Ever. That is from the mouth of one of the most prolific, here in the United States, one of the most prolific child predators ever documented in the United States of America, said, quote, "Don't ever let me out. I can't be fixed. I'll do it again." Close quote. This Bly guy gets sentenced after an incident in 2015 of the same ilk, serves less than the 5 years that he was sentenced to before he is paroled. And what is he doing? He's going online to groom and prey on boys, evidently or apparently under the age of 15. I'm just an old lady on YouTube. I can't fix any of this. The only thing I have any control over whatsoever is myself. I have no answers. The motto of this channel is mostly questions seeking answers. I am a survivor of child sexual abuse. I am 75 years old. It happened to me between the ages of 6 and 8. And to this day, tell your children, tell your grandchildren, do not take candy from strangers. The only satisfaction I have out of this particular incident is that this fucker has been charged and arrested, and it is because of an unknown online predator group who go after these people. And I am grateful as an Arkansan that this went down the way it did. And I'm hoping, as well as praying, that justice will be served, and that perhaps because of the circumstances and the law in Arkansas, there's a probability that Mr. Bly will spend the rest of his life in the Arkansas penal system if he is convicted. That sits well with me. I can't speak of the other option I prefer on YouTube. So babies, looks like our signal cleared up a little bit. Let me glance over here at your chat for a few minutes. Hi, Cindy from sunny South Florida. Yes, Cindy, we see it over and over again, sweetheart. There's nothing new under the sun. Child abuse, child sexual abuse, child neglect, and related matters. I'm trying to be delicate. They go back as far as mankind, as far as humankind. We're more aware of it now because of the internet and because society seems to have progressed to the place that we speak out loud of these matters, whereas when I was a child, you did not speak of such things. For that, I am grateful. No one knew of my abuse until I was 21 years old, and that was my therapist. And when the time came that my therapist recommended that I speak to at least my mother and my sister about what had happened to me so that they would understand some of the things I had said and done as I was growing up. As a teenager in particular, I was quite promiscuous. I literally thought my mother was going to die from a broken heart. So, hi, B Mama V. Running Bear, hi, sweetheart. So, let me get a sip of soda here. And let's have a short story before we say goodbye. And I will do my best. I'm not going to make any promises because of how triggering it is for me. But I will tell you this. I will do my best to keep up with what goes on with this man, with this case. April 16th, court date. Let's see. What we can find in our book, Getting the Most Out of Life, published by the Reader's Digest in 1946. It's an anthology of biographical and autobiographical stories in their condensed version. This book is indeed designed to help us get the most out of life. And I always like to give the caveat, wisdom is wisdom, regardless of the age, the year, the era, the eon. Hi, Kiki. So let's see if we can lighten our hearts a little bit. I know, Cindy, it's hard. Cindy, honey, the folks that have been watching me for quite some time, I'm sorry, I'm emotional. Cindy, when I started this channel, it was my intention to cover missing children. And I did my best with it up until Audrey Cunningham in Texas. Carrie Bishop knows, as well as others here, that the Audrey Cunningham case absolutely broke me emotionally. when they when Audrey's body was found and the story came out, I was, oh my goodness, y'all, I was in bed for at least 3 days. It was just too much. So we still talk about Summer Wells here. And we won't stop. Because I made a promise to Summer Wells herself, a spiritual promise. So we won't give up on Summer, but Cindy, yeah, it's there's some things that are just too much for some of us. And there are others here on the platform who have the backbone and the tenacity that it takes, the courage. Yeah, I'm ashamed to admit my weakness. So let's keep moving forward here. Okay, give me just a second, okay? Oh, I don't like to be like this on a live stream on YouTube. Ah. Okay. Let's see what our book has to say in a short story that is titled Women Over 40. This does not apply to me. I'm only 21. I just turned 21 last October. So if any of you are women over 40, this is condensed from the book of the same title, and it's written by Sarah Trent. Our Aunt Matilda probably shuddered at facing the middle years with their prospects of changes, mental and physical. She dreaded them because she had heard women wail, "We're on the verge of the most difficult period of our lives." Nonsense. If a woman has done her share of the world's work and has tasted life's responsibilities and experiences, she will find herself prepared to enjoy the rewards of maturity in spite of this much heralded change. The situation is not tragic, as many women like to make it. The female troubles, obscure and terrifying ills, which etched wrinkles into grandmothers' faces. Need never plague our lives if we intelligently take advantage of modern knowledge. But there must be no sitting back with folded hands, letting ourselves get flabby mentally and bodily. We must acknowledge that the middle years do present to every woman peculiar problems to be faced and to be solved. This is the time for searching self-analysis. To live the 40s as nature intended, full of energy and wisdom, at the peak of mental power, we must evaluate ourselves correctly. What exactly is it that nature does to us somewhere after the 40th year? In one simple sentence, she relieves us of the sudden burden of childbearing and of periodic discomfort. Not overnight, but gradually over a period of years, varying with the individual. Biologically, the process is simplicity itself and normally quite painless. The uterus, no longer needed for maternity, will gradually begin to atrophy. The ovaries, no longer parting with an ovum once a month for fertilization, will cease to function. Gradually, too, the menstrual flow will become irregular and at last cease. I haven't been down that aisle in 26 years. With these major indications, there will be glandular changes, the physical basis for the mental instability. There may be disturbances of the vasomotor system resulting in the hot flashes, perspirations, or palpitations. There you have the menopause. Before modern medicine, the most feared experience of woman's life, bristling with catastrophe, made hideous by superstition. Is there anything so fearsome about the process? Nature is saying, you have up to this time lived for others. Now live for yourself. For these women, there are, however, a few words of easily taken advice. First, avoid physical excesses of all kinds. Too much fatigue, too much excitement, too much work, too little sleep, too little exercise. Simple. Regular living is especially desirable at this time. Second, if during the menopause any marked physical symptoms are noticeable, then let the doctor be visited. The medical profession recommends that women put themselves in the doctor's hands during this period, just as for prenatal care. The patient is thus relieved of uncertainty and worry. She has shifted the responsibility for her health onto the shoulders of the family doctor. His word will do much. Indeed, it will. That's my caveat. It's not in the story. His or her word, your doctor, their word will do much to relieve your nervousness and your dread. There will be certain emotional changes, but they need not be disturbing. These changes, like all processes of nature, will come gradually. No woman will wake up some morning and find herself mentally quite another creature from the one who turned out the light the night before. But the average emotionally stable woman, well, the average emotionally stable woman, okay, to whom tears are as alien as tantrums, may find herself inclined to weep without a reason. Let her weep away. The outlet of a good crying spell does wonders. She may find herself annoyed by trifles, impelled to nag and scold. She may become moody, prone to self-pity, sunk often in an inexplicable slough of misery. In some cases, the uglier emotions may raise their heads. Fear and jealousy may wreak havoc if the sufferer is not forewarned. Or one who has prided herself on her power of concentration may find her mind wandering, unable to make decisions, to think things through to logical conclusions. But these deviations from the normal must not be taken too seriously. They merely mean that the ductless glands in process of reorganization are reacting on the nervous system to make it jumpy. And they are by no means permanent. Only As this fact is understood and discussed frankly, will many married couples be able to weather the period during which the wife is adapting herself to a new scheme of things? Hi, holler girl. The husband must understand what is taking place in the wife's body, and the wife must show herself so thoroughly that she will be able to attribute any divergence from the norm to its proper causes. In other words, communicate. She must learn to laugh and reason herself out of the difficulties, secure in the knowledge that they will shortly adjust themselves. Dilemmas which seem insurmountable will become just what they are: ordinary problems. Mental lassitude will pass into a new surging up of energetic, clear thinking. Fears lest she lose her looks will change to a secure confidence that there can be no diminution. Okay, there will be no reduction. I can't say diminution. Go ahead, laugh. Go ahead. It's time to laugh. Go ahead, laugh. I cannot pronounce Diminution. I don't know why, but I cannot say it. So let's just say, fears lest she lose her looks will change to a secure confidence that there can be no minimization of attractiveness and charm in a well-poised, serene, mature woman. Jealousy, closely associated with fear, can be cured by the same means. Both have their basic cause in sex. And the woman over 40 need not consider that her sex life is a thing of the past. She must realize that it's only a new phase of sex life beginning for her. Simply because a woman can no longer reproduce, it does not follow that sex drops out of her life or becomes negligible. On the contrary, she has a right to and should have as normal a sex life as a woman 20 years her junior. The menopause is a pause, not a halt. To bear out this statement, one of the pause, to bear out the statement, one of the most noted gynecologists in New York City found that in an imposing percentage of his cases, the fullest sex life was attained after the age of 50. If you catch my meaning, if you get my drift, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, say no more, say no more. And finally, these old wives' tales that are rampant in the feminine world, how women go insane during the adjustment period. Of poor Mrs. So-and-so, suddenly gone quite out of her head. Let it be said emphatically, nature never intended anything of the sort. If there are such cases, then age is only a contributing factor to a deep-seated abnormality and not the primary cause. There is no, in quotes, queerness, close quote, which the average woman cannot banish by self-control. Sane living and a clear understanding of what is actually going on. So, we give you, the woman over 40, freed by nature from her duty of childbearing, her family finally brought up, She is ready for the most mentally fruitful and socially profitable period of her life's career, for the luxury of living for herself. One sees such women everywhere, in the professions, in the arts, in public life, on YouTube, full of energy, full of accomplishment. Shortly, it will be the exceptional woman who deems that she has fulfilled her mission in life when she sees her children settled. It will be the usual thing for women to make a neat division of their lives. The years up to 40 for growing, for learning, for marrying and bearing children. The later years for self-expression, for service, for all kinds of social and helpful activities. We give you the women over 40. The end. Darlings, in the words of Samuel Clemens, aka Mark Twain, from any experience, take only the wisdom from it and stop there. So, the analytics of the demographics on my channel tells me that almost every single one of you is either over 40 already, or you're quickly approaching it. Just remind yourselves, as your body and your minds begin to make that transition, it's a pause, not a halt. Now, how long we been on here? Almost an hour. And as you guys more often than not hear me say, I like to keep it to about an hour. Thanks again for being here. I truly appreciate it. If you haven't given me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, please do. It's okay if you give a thumbs down. The bots at YouTube consider it all interaction. And as a personal closing statement, I've been asked just by not even a handful, but a few of our longtime and regular subscribers, why I am doing the shorts and the community posts that I am doing, featuring videos and or photographs of myself and my husband, and not in an ugly way. Excuse me. They're not asking in an ugly way. They're like, why are you doing this? Self-expression. I'm celebrating my life. Pictures old, pictures new, some enhanced by AI, like changing the color of the clothes or changing the color of my hair. Don't be afraid to express yourself in whatever creative avenue is natural to you. Perhaps you're an avid gardener and you love to grow and nurture plants. Perhaps you're a graphics artist. Perhaps you're a singer. Now's the time. Grab that bull by its horns and express yourself. Celebrate your life before it's over. Because as I said in a community post the other day, when you're dead and laying in your coffin or in your urn, or spread wherever you may be spread, you will not be able to hear the praises from others. Garner them now. All right. Speaking of singers, I need to sing you babies out of here. Sometimes when I find I cannot sleep in my bed, angels come and stand at my side, silent in the dark of my dread. Unseen angels come and stand at my side. Time and time again when I feel lonely and low, giving into anger and pride, softly like the morning's first glow, unseen angels come and stand at my side. Legions of angels, angels, when I'm by my own tear and trial, softly like the morning's first glow, unseen angels come and stand at my side. Wild imagination runs out of control, and I'm finding nowhere to hide. Gently, with their arms all aglow, unseen angels come and stand at my side. Legions of angels, unseen angels, when I'm by my own tear and trial, softly like the morning's first glow, unseen angels come and stand by my side, my side. The song is called Great Dreams of Heaven. And in the chorus, by my own tear and trial, T-A-R-E, tear, wait. Your own weight and your own trials. Angels will come and stand by your side. Legions of them. You know how much a legion is? Tens of thousands. Now, get out of the kitchen. I've got things to do. Go out onto the mean streets of YouTube, as well as Walmart or any place else. Remember, you've got several, actual number of superpowers. I like to talk about two of them here, at least remind you of them. One of them is called kindness. And when you spread kindness, it's going to come back to you tenfold when you least expect it, but you're needing it the very most. My other admonition is to use your superpower that's known as discernment. Discernment and judgment are not the same thing. Use your discernment, because there are snakes out in that grass. And those motherfuckers don't deserve your kindness. Now, get out of here. I love you. When I'm my own tear and drown, softly like the morning's first glow, unseen angels come and stand at my side.